There's music here tonight.
Good evening and welcome to Caffe Lena. Thanks for watching this live stream production from Saratoga Springs, New York. These live streams are made possible by the generous support of the Sarah B. Folk Charitable Fund and by our community of subscribers. Special thanks to our Virtuoso level subscribers and lifetime Caffe Lena members. By buying a ticket for this performance, you're supporting independent music and the mission of our historic nonprofit venue. Enjoy your front row seats for this show, live from Caffe Lena.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to TrueSongs 2023 at Caffe Lena. It is wonderful to have all of you here tonight. I know that there are probably a lot of people who haven't been at Caffe Lena before, so a special welcome to you. This is a room that has held countless thousands of songs about our people, about our community, about the things that we go through in life since it opened in 1960. And so this program is all about showing the power of songs to reveal the true story of our lives, the kinds of wonderful stories that you never read about in the newspapers, but that really are some of the most powerful moments of our lives, the things that mean the most to us and our families. And so the 5 people who are going to be sharing their story tonight, if you think about the most sensitive and important moment of your life, and then you think about standing up and talking to 100 new people about it, you can imagine that, you know, that's a big ask. And so I applaud them for their courage and their willingness to open up their lives to us. So the first story that we're going to hear is from Saratoga Therapeutic Equestrian Program, also known as STEP. And our storyteller is Colette. And our songwriters are Joel Moss and Dave Maswick. That's Joel, and that's Dave with the guitar. He's going to be performing it. Christy Keegan is right here, and she helped Colette shape her story. And right now I'm going to ask Kay White from STEP to come on up to the mic and just tell us a little bit about what the program is all about. Thank you, Kay.
I'm Kay White, actually, the executive director of STEP, and I founded the organization 37 years ago. We use equine movement in physical therapy, OT, and speech-language pathology, along with equine facilitated mental health, to improve the quality of others' lives. We have children ages 2 and up, and Colette happens to be one of my more favorite kids that I've seen for a very long time. And it's something that we really love and be able to share with the community. And those of you that are here today that have special needs and are working with our special populations, I applaud you tremendously for being here today. STEP would like to offer anyone that would like to come down and visit us. We're not in Saratoga. We actually are in Glenville. And we're nestled in a lovely little area, and we provide all types of services. And in regards to the fact that we're a 501c3 like you, or who are all struggling for financial support, we're always asking for help. So thank you so much for having us here tonight. And I hope you enjoy Colette's story, because she's one of over 2,500 children and adults that I've seen in 37 years at STEP. So thank you very much.
Well, good evening. I am delighted to see you all. I am Christy Keegan, and this is my new friend and very new storyteller, Colette. And she's going to share with you tonight her experience learning to ride a horse is a skill, a hobby, and a form of therapy. So, Colette, would you tell the audience the name of the program that you're in?
STEP.
STEP, that's right. And how old were you when you started?
4 years old.
4 years old, okay. And did you know anybody else in the program? Or did somebody tell you about it?
My mommy learned about it.
Aha, okay. And who was the first horse that you rode?
Bugaboo.
That's right. Great name, right? And did you like her right away? Did you like riding the very first time you did
I
it?
liked it the minute I got on the horse.
Good for you. And how old are you now?
I am 11 years old.
So you've been riding for 7 years. That's a long time. Have you ridden any other horses besides
Yes.
Bugaboo? Who?
Ladybug when I was 5. Jewel, the pony, Ben Kemi, Serena.
Do you like them all the same, or do you have a favorite?
I have liked them all for different reasons, but Serena is my favorite.
That's right. And that's who you ride now, right, Serena? How many times a week do you ride?
Serena, now, yes, I ride every Saturday. I ride for about 45 minutes. I never miss. I look forward to it every week.
For you, even though it's cold. Do you ride all year or just during certain times?
I ride all year round except when it's way too cold in the winter.
Mm-hmm. And why do you change horses? You've had 4 different horses, almost 5. Yeah.
As they get older, they can't ride as much or get too old to be ridden anymore. And I getting bigger and wanting more ways to work with the horses, so I need bigger horses.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So can you tell everybody some of the things that you've learned? Did you ride in a saddle right away?
Not in a saddle right away, just on a blanket.
Mm-hmm.
I learned about balance, how to use stirrups, how to turn left, turn right, use the reins, ride in around the arena in different directions. I learned more about being a rider now.
And where do you ride?
I ride inside the arena, but sometimes we go outside arena or on the trails.
And how did you learn balance? Can you show the audience some of the ways you learned balance? And what did you have on your arms when you were doing that?
The wings.
Mm-hmm. Little rings, right? Mm-hmm. And what else did you have to do with the rings and the cones?
Had to lean over or pick up a ring off a cone.
Mm-hmm. Can you show them how you had to do that?
Like, I think I was like this.
And that was while you were on horseback. That's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. So tell me a little bit more.
Sometimes I had to ride backwards to let my legs hang down without the thuds.
Backwards. Backwards. By the way, this is her first performance ever in public, and she also rides a horseback. And are you still learning things, Colette?
Yes, Tron is next, but it makes me uncomfortable. Maybe not my word.
Not your word, no. We couldn't come up with a word. Trotting is just no, right? Mm-hmm. There you go, that's my girl. But riding made a real difference for you physically, huh?
Mm-hmm. Almost someone else in my group can do it, but my posture is really good now and my balance too.
Mm-hmm. And so you're much stronger too, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So do you think it made you more confident?
Yes, I'm getting better and better at riding a horse. Is a good thing for me to do.
And how long do you think you'll keep riding?
Forever.
Forever. Good for you.
Wow, Colette, you are very inspirational, and Serena might be the biggest horse I've ever seen. It was really great to come out and watch you ride that day, and we look forward to hearing more about your experiences in the future. But for now, here's your song.
I was quiet for a while. I had to find my way. I guess I'm kinda lucky. Now I've got a lot to say. I won't tell you that it's easy. People think in black and white, when all I see are vibrant colors, beautiful and bright. When I hold hold on to the reins, when I sit up straight and tall. It's my special superpower after all. I am floating, I am peaceful, I feel happy, I feel free. Riding Serena and me. I'm thankful for my family, they always have my back. Sometimes I need a little push to keep me on the track. And Step has made me confident, Kay and all her staff. It's really serious business, but it also makes me laugh. When I hold on to the rein, when I sit up straight and tall, it's my special superpower after all. I am floating, I am peaceful, I feel happy, I feel free. Riding Serena and me. Riding Serena and me. Thank you. Thank you, Colette.
So it's going to take us just a minute to switch over to the next organization, which is Glens Falls Association for the Blind. So for the folks that are part of that, let's start coming to the stage.
And
I'm gonna bring your hand over to the mic, and then I'm gonna raise it.
yep. Okay. A little lower. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm just to your right.
So there's somebody going to present us about that.
Yeah, so he's gonna present us, and then do you want to sit up here while I play the song?
Sure.
Okay, I'll move a chair over to you once I'm done. Once you're done telling your story, I'll move a chair over and help you sit down, just show you where it is.
All right, folks. My name is Matteo Viscagni, and I'm the Director of Operations here at Caffe Lena. Welcome back. Our next organization team is ready to present. This is the Glens Falls Association for the Blind. Our storyteller is Richard Bonet. Our songwriter is Holly McGarry. The storytelling coach was Margaret French. And we have a representative from the organization. This is Liz Schreiner. Please give her a warm welcome. She's going to speak briefly.
Thank you. The Glens Falls Association for the Blind is a not-for-profit organization that covers several counties around here. But the main purpose is when people lose their vision, and it does happen more than you think, we go in and teach them how to become independent and do everything except drive a car. They can thread needles, they can do all kinds of equipment is available, and it's all not, there's no charge for it, so it can make a very big difference in their lives. And it doesn't take very long to teach people how to do things. We mark things so that they can feel the microwave, the thermostat. I even have a young man that couldn't make it today that is one of the best small engine repairmen. And he was blind at 18, and he has the best business in the world. And so there's a lot of things you can do and not give up. And so the Association for the Blind, I've worked all the way up to Canada, but right now we have a shorter territory. Warren County, Washington County, parts of Fulton County, Saratoga County, the northern part. And it keeps me pretty busy. I did retire once, but I'm trying again. So this is Richard, and I think his story is very interesting, and you learn a lot. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Richard, and I'm going to start with 1963 when I was a young lad. Oh, God, I was full of energy until I started running into the walls. Oh, Lord, what's going on with me? Then my mother said, I think he needs glasses. So they took me to the eye doctor, and the doctor said, he's okay. He just got myopia, stigmatism, little glaucoma. He got problems with his retina. I thought it was okay. He's needing glasses. So when they gave me the glasses, I looked at the mirror. I thought they cut 2 Coke bottles and gave it to me. Hey, it was that bad. I needed bungee cords just to keep it in my face. You know your social life when you're that young? 0. Dating? Worse. Then came 1974. 16-year-old lad just walking in the house, and all of a sudden I see a beam. Richard. You're talking to me? Yes. Change the channel. Oh, okay. What did I see? Cooper vision, extended contact wears. Oh my God! I told my mother when they put it on, my social life went to 100. My dating life was out of control. Oh, I was in heaven until 2007 came around. And I knew I couldn't see, but you know how stubborn people are. Oh, I can manage. Oh, I'm driving along until one day at 2:30 in the morning, I'm like home alone. I'm on top of the sidewalk. I hope I don't kill no one. Oh, Lord. Where's the red phone? Direct line, please, if I could park this car without hitting no one. And nothing, please. I'll give my license in. And that's what I did when I parked that car. But unfortunately, New York State, vision impaired and the blind came and they tried to help me, but until my boss saw me that he thought I was kissing the monitor, but he just couldn't see it. But I had to leave work. So they recommended me to Glens Falls Association for the Blind. I said, oh, okay, I'll try it. And the first thing they did was give me a visually impaired training. Oh, that's when Liz came along. They'll teach you how to use the oven, the microwave. They even teach you this little gadget, how to cut without cutting your fingers. And how to open a can opener, and how to pour coffee without sticking your finger in there. It was great. So they told me, oh, we're going to go for the second thing. What is it? Mobility. Piece of cake. It's just walking with the cane. Oh, Lord. That was bad. He told me, start walking. Walk to the right. No, straight. Oh, okay. Walk to the left. No. Adjust. Okay. To the right. To the left. I was zigzagging the whole place. And he said, well, I have unfortunate news for you. You're going to need a dog. If that dog is trained to use a dustpan and a broom, I'll take him. If not, you're not waking me up in the morning for that. So I live with it. And thanks to her husband, he takes me around how I could get around. Thank Lord, because you don't want me driving. So Phil Jensen is the director of the place. He started talking to me about serving, using my talent. Even though I was blind with handicap, I was positive about it. And so I said, okay. And they started doing luncheon and bringing other people that was like me, and they were blind, and I give them pep talk and everything, how to feel better with themselves and how to handle the blindness. Then, with little time and everything, I went to be a board member. And when I became a board member, I took over Facebook and the web. I thanks Aaron for the web to help me out on that, but I thanks for Facebook, my wife, and my daughter and her boyfriend Sean, because every time they see me with the phone going like this, they think I'm the Walking Dead. They start running. So no hope with that. But and now I'm doing great, and now vice president of the member. And I'm doing so great that I love it, and I really love this. But I want to leave one thing, and then I know they're going to give me this video so I could put it on the Glens Falls Association for the Blind. That one message I want to leave to the blind community or to the disabled. It doesn't matter what disability you have. If you learn how to master your mind, you master life. If you have a positive energy, it's like a change reaction to positive thoughts, events, and outcome. And most of the time, you just have to have like that 3F. Have fun in your life. Go with the flow. You know when you love to work, you go with that flow. Everything goes fast and everything, you love it, and have fulfillment. And I think that will lead to a better life with happiness and everything. So whenever you're in a crossroad, do you want to take that positive energy and happiness, or you want to take that negativity and sadness? Which road will you take? I'd like to thank you for listening to my story and everything. It was a great adventure, that's for sure. And I'd like to thank Caffe Lima, everybody that put all this together. And I'd like to thank Holly, that you're going to hear her sing. Tell her she needs to go to The Voice. And I hope you can listen to her now. Thank you. Oh, yeah, it is.
Oops. Sorry, rearranging.
Oh, one more thing. I'd like to thank Margaret. She trained me to do all this. Margaret, you are the bomb.
Well, thank you. I feel very lucky that I get to be your songwriting companion here on this wonderful project. And I just tried to take Richard's sense of humor and positive message and incorporate some of his mantras in here. So thank you, Richard. Would help if I unmuted, sorry.
Young boy with Coke bottle glasses, a pinball wizard, but not much action. A decade later came contact lenses. The girls loved that I was on top then. Oh, life is what we make it. It's all about perspective. I'll give my love to fill your cup. share my life, you know our thoughts are what we make it. I'll give my time to help you on your way. I had my dream job, I was traveling, helping people reach their potentials. But the day came when the walls closed in. I couldn't drive myself any more than life is what we make it. It's all about perspective. I'll give my love to fill your cup. I'll share my life, you know our thoughts are what we make it. I'll give my time to help you on your way. Well, I had to keep myself busy. I found resources in a community. I share that life is all about perspective. Once a door closes, find a new one and open it wide. Life is what we make it. It's all about perspective. I'll give my love to fill your cup. I'll share my life, you know our thoughts are what we make it. I'll give my time to help you on your way. Yeah, I'll give my time to help you on your way.
Okay, quick break, and then we'll be bringing up Veterans and Community Housing Coalition. Thank you, Richard and Holly, so much for that performance, and also thank you to Colette and Dave and Joel for the first one. We started working on this program back in March, I want to say, canvassing the community to find organizations that would be interested in participating. And these were the 5 that stepped forward and felt like they really had a story that they wanted to share here tonight. So I just am so grateful to everybody for all the work they've put into it. So thank you. Quick break.
Take this stand right here. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it worked well in rehearsal, right?
Yeah. I'm all right.
Yeah, it felt great. So that's
I'm just trying to get the mic. I'm not good with mics, but
no, that's fine.
that's right.
If you feel like you need to scoot
Back it up.
you can do this. See if you tilt it, and then it'll go up. If you want
on it back. So. Yeah.
With these mics, you gotta be really close to them though.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, everybody,
evening,
I
everyone.
think we are ready.
Are you ready? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we got you. All right, so we're going to start with Michelle. Michelle is going to just talk about the organization first.
Okay.
All right. Okay, everybody. So to anybody here who has been in the service, shout out to you. It is Veterans Day, so thank you. So knowing that this was going to happen on Veterans Day, I was especially happy that an organization we've been chasing for about 3 years now decided to step up and participate. This is the Veterans and Community Housing Coalition, and I have Michelle Straight to talk to you about the organization.
Hello, everybody. So it has been a long haul, and I do apologize. It's been a couple years. Veteran and Community Housing Coalition was founded 40 years ago. And our mission is we believe that the word homeless and veteran should never be in the same sentence. Unfortunately, the reality is that it is. This agency has worked on providing support services, programming, and filling gaps for services. The key component is case management. So a warm bed and a hot meal is the first step, but it is certainly not the solution. The solution are the men and women behind the scenes working with the veterans that we have in the program. Tonight we have two amazing case managers here, Donna and Chrissy, and they are saints. One of our programs that we're highlighting tonight is our female house, Guardian House. Guardian House is the only VA-supported home in New York State. It's one of 7 in the country, and it's right down the road. So this home has been home to countless female veterans that have come far and wide to take advantage of these programs. And the women that are here today, the reason why these female veterans have been they've done so well is because of their support. Caffe Lena has been chasing us for many years. Let me tell you, it's tough when you're working with veterans that you're there on their worst day, on their nightmare, and we're working with them to regain their independence. It's hard to share your story. Think about your worst day in your life, and now, hey, come on in front of 100 people and sing a song about it. It's been a challenge. So along came this lady.
What?
Gail is my hero. She is one amazing woman that we've known for quite some time. And when we first met Gail, she didn't want any part of us at all. And now she literally is a rock star. So please look at our social media as our lifeline, Facebook, Instagram, vchcny.org. And ladies and gentlemen, I introduce one of my heroes, Miss Gail.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Michelle Sway. That's the executive director. I call her executive producer. Welcome, everyone, and good evening. Hope you're enjoying the show. My name is Gail. I'm originally from Queens. I hope to make Saratoga Springs my new home on my way up. Thanks to the Veterans Community Housing Coalition. I was homeless. I was homeless many a times for many different reasons. One thing I can say about the Housing Coalition, they made me feel welcome. Welcome, friendly, with open arms, with no judgment. And they put their heart into their work and what they do, not just for a paycheck. They make a house a home. My story starts with my childhood. At 6 years old, I had a mother who died of brain cancer. She was 34 years old. And my father was the same age, 34. And he was left with me, 6 years old, and my sister a newborn. My mother died 5 hours after my sister was born. But as I remember, when my mother was alive, I was mischievous, but she knew what to do with me. She had me in ballet at 4. She was a beautician, and I was always in the beauty shop. I was happy there, and I behaved myself there. When she finished with me, I looked like the black Shirley Temple. I was a happy kid when I was with my mom. Now, my dad was raised in poverty, picking cotton at 12. He was the younger brother, 8 sisters, but he never knew his father. Matter of fact, my mother never knew her father. He worked and went to school trying to do his best. He was wounded in the Korean War, fighting for his country, but he was never the same after that. It was in 1967 that my father lost his wife and I lost my mom. He tried to raise me and my sister, but the actual reality was I was raising my sister while my dad went to work. He tried to stay the course, but in his despair, he committed suicide 9 years into retirement. My dad could not give me what he did not have, which caused him to be abusive emotionally and verbally. Well, to put a little color and shape to that, when I went through verbal abuse for hours after hour, he was bitter, and that's when my substance abuse began. When he sent me to the store, I would run up to the roof and smoke marijuana. And when I discovered his whole bar underneath the kitchen sink, I helped myself and filled the bottles up with water. That's how it all started. I was trying to block out, and I was stuffing, and I was running. I ran away several times, seeking approval and love on the outside, which became a habit. That was my go-to. I didn't have the family tree, the privilege of having grandma. I had one grandmother in North Carolina, another one who died in North Carolina. No aunts, no uncles. Me, dad, and my sis. What kept me going was a quote from Reverend Jesse Jackson. I am somebody. Despite all of this, in high school, through English electives, I took radio and TV broadcasts. We had our own broadcast equipment, and we were able to get firsthand experience in the field of radio and TV. I graduated early from high school, 6 months early, with an 82 average. And I was nominated for a scholarship to the Manhattan School of Music at 17. I played the tuba in high school. I did not go to the audition because I was a runaway and had no support. Then, after running away, even though I was a runaway, I tried hard to study for the Armed Forces exam anyway. During the time I graduated early, I studied for about a year, and I missed it by 9 points. I studied 2 more months at School of High in Electronics. I was on my way and to the United States to be accepted to the United States Air Force. On the positive note, it gave me more discipline and organization skills I needed. I also got to meet new people and make some new friends. My Air Force career, I worked as a supply clerk for avionics maintenance for the B-52 nuclear bomb. It was classified, confidential I was. Well, unfortunately, after the 4 years, my career came to an end because one of the parts went missing from the aircraft. And unfortunately, my signature was on the paperwork. After leaving the Air Force, I became homeless and started to return to substance abuse. I went home. It lasted for 2 months, and I ended up taken to the streets like I did before. I wrote a poem that won first place at the Veterans Administration Creative Art Festival last year, and it was considered for the national level. The poem is called A Dark Place, sums up my feelings at that time. Are you suffering in silence? No one will ever know. You say, I'm fine. I'm okay with a smile. No one sees your tears. No one knows your sorrow. No one knows that you're thinking about giving up or how unbearable your pain is. Are you too numb to speak? Shut down by despair? Nothing is clear. Can't shed a tear. Suffering profoundly. Do you feel alone in a crowd? Does anyone care? Do you want to cry but can't? Do you avoid contact with loved ones you don't mean to deny? A dark space where I can only see the color black. A dark space where I see no future or no past that supports me. I feel different. I feel trapped. Thank God today I'm on my way up due to the Veterans Housing Coalition. After the military, I also had productive times. I worked several jobs to support myself and eventually got a job at the post office, where I worked for 15 years. I also played in the post office band, the tuba. We played in a lot of parades down Fifth Avenue. All the cameras was on 60-something Street, and the man with the big mic would come down the middle of the band and stop where I was. And it happened to me twice. I blew the wrong note. Marching the parade wasn't easy, but I always managed to carry my antique tuba. It was very heavy. I wore shades, but I was sweating from the sideburns. I also got a vendor's license and sold a variety of items on the street. Unfortunately, I found myself making some bad decisions with my life. Substance abuse led me down some dark alleys, some dark places that I still painful, can't talk about. But to put the past behind me is where I'm at. Despite the adversaries and problems, I could always find comfort, strength, and peace in composing poetry and music. I knew that was my go-to. Even in high school, if I was frustrated, I was glad to go to band to blow on that big tuba. Admittedly, I have some success in these areas as I have won some awards. I won first place in the VA Creative Arts Program poetry area for the first time last year and was chosen to participate in the national program. I also got a second place with an essay. It was about my father's military career and his life. In music, I got 4 awards for songs accompanied by guitar. In life, no one knows how long or dark the tunnel there is. There's always a light at the end. Fortunately for me, the light has 2 beams. One of them led me to the Saratoga County Veterans Peer Mentoring Program, where I met Sue Rancourt, a renowned poet. She has become not only a peer, a mentor, but a friend. Our mutual interest in poetry helped us bond. Through the program, she has helped me to start a new beginning by helping me with my surroundings, new surroundings, and to believe in myself and become creative in the arts again. I'm trying to start writing poetry again, but when I wrote it the first time, it was the first time I wrote it in my life. And that was during COVID. I was locked up in the house. She has helped me develop my confidence and to help me feel comfortable. As a homeless female vet, the second beam led me to the Guardian House where I'm at now, the only supportive housing program for homeless female vets in New York State. The house is part of the Veterans and Community Housing Coalition. In the United States, there are only 50,000 homeless vets with more than 600 living in the Capital District. This house is one of only 7 in the United States for homeless female vets that is funded by the VA. To be accepted, you must not be dishonorably discharged, be homeless and have low income, and willing to work on your issues that cause your homeless situation. With their help and guidance, and I would say also love, I am working on getting my life together and in order. They help me by giving me a stable environment and full support. Through them, I am maintaining my sobriety. They help me with my financial and medical issues, provide transportation when needed. They have a variety of activities with peers to help us assimilate to new social environment. Eventually, I will be in a position to move on independently, to have a better life of my own. You can't erase the past, but these 2 programs assure me you don't have to live in the past. And they are providing me the light to move forward in my life. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Cassandra Kubinski, and I'm so much more nervous right now than I ever am when I play my own shows. Yeah, right. Water. So, when I went to the Guardian House, because we met at the Guardian House, yeah?
Right.
Mm-hmm. We went over. And when I met with you and with Suzanne, one of the first things I did was ask you to start to share your trajectory in your words. And when it came up that you were a musician, I asked, do you have any songs that you've written? And it turned out you did, right? And do you want to yell out the title of one of those songs that you played me?
A Way Out.
So the title of the song was A Way Out, and I requested that Gail go up and get her guitar and bring it downstairs and play it for me, and she graciously obliged and played A Way Out. So what I wanted to do was to really look at incorporating that into her song. So I think we did a pretty good job, and we're going to play it for you now.
lost my mother. At 41, my dad. They couldn't be my compass or give me the peace they never had. At 16, suicidal, I'd start to run away, seeking solace, hope, and I'd wake up to brighter days. I was looking for a way out, the music to my own song, looking for a way out of a dark place that felt so wrong. Wasn't there a place I could begin again? And what was the way in? The Air Force gave me discipline, but punished one mistake. Post office years revived the fears and vices I just couldn't seem to shake. Stumbling in alleys and valleys of despair, my poetry and melodies reminded me to care. Keep looking for a way out of the brokenness and pain, the mistrust and self-doubt, to find confidence again. Wasn't there a place for me where maybe just one time I could win? And what's the way in? Well, fate, she can be cruel or kind, and one day just change your mind and bring you a friend. She did for me. I'm learning to feel less alone, supported in a newfound home that offers possibility. Maybe finally a way out, a pathway from the past where I can make peace and move forward into light at last, owning my story and where I have been, closing a chapter and opening a door to breathe again. A way in. The way into a new season for all the right reasons. A way in.
So thank you to Gail Nixon, Cassandra Kabinski, and storytelling coach Al Chica, who did just a wonderful job with this. So thank you, team. We're going to take a little intermission now, turn on the lights, you can stretch your legs, and we'll be back with a couple more stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so continue the evening's event. TrueSongs is a program very near and dear to my heart. So happy to be here to witness this. And I just want to talk a little bit about Caffe Lena before we get into the next story here. We are a nonprofit organization. We are largely supported by our volunteer staff, who has been helping you with all your food and drink tonight. Big round of applause for them. Our volunteer staff extends to a lot of different positions, though. Even Bob Vogel, who's here tonight, he had a big hand in volunteering, helping put this program together. So I want to give a big round of applause for our volunteers all over. Some of them you don't even see, but they do a lot of great work here, and we're very grateful for our volunteer staff. We are a membership organization as well. If you'd like to find out more about becoming a member here, it does, every penny helps support our mission. And it doesn't just happen here on this stage, it happens all over town. Happens in Washington County, Warren County, Saratoga County. We do a lot of good work that isn't just seen on this stage. So if you want to find out more about that, you can talk to us in the lobby before you take off, or see us at caffelena.org. But let's get into this. I do want to thank our sponsors. Without Live Music Society, the Music in Action program, this program would not be possible this year. And also Bob and Leslie Vogel, thank you so much for your support for making this happen. So, our next team is the Hudson Crossing Park team. Sean Rao is the songwriter. Mike Bielkowitz is our storyteller.
Well done.
Did I say it right?
Oh, you did well.
I've been practicing for weeks. That was the most stressful part about this evening for me. Whew, good, all right. Hudson Crossing Park is our organization. We have Kate Morse here to say a few words.
Thank you. Yes, and very good job pronouncing that last name, because it is impossible. I want to start off by thanking Caffe Lena and the entire TrueSongs crew for allowing us to share the stage with so many amazing stories tonight. I'm sure that you have all been sitting in the audience feeling the same way I was feeling, sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is truly, truly an awesome evening. And it's an honor for us to be here. For those of you who may not have been lucky enough yet to visit Hudson Crossing, we are a non-for-profit that is centered on a 42-acre island that is bordered by the Hudson River, not the Hudson Crossing River, yet again, the Hudson River and the Champlain Canal, and just north of the village of Schuylerville. And when I say that we are a very small nonprofit, I mean we are a nonprofit staff of one, right here. So as much as I would like to think that I could do everything, I definitely cannot. So it's thanks to our Hudson Crossing community of volunteers who show up and donate hours and days and months and years and decades of their lives to making sure that Hudson Crossing and everything we offer, which includes trails, picnic facilities, programs and events throughout the year, educational opportunities for all ages, birding, fishing, river and canal access. Literally, you name it, we probably can give you that. We do this thanks to the volunteers who make it all possible. And, you know, as wonderful as all of those things I just rattled off are, the true gift of Hudson Crossing Park is a lot simpler, but also a lot rarer in a lot of ways, because we give people an opportunity to connect. I don't know about you. I grew up in the country. I grew up wandering my neighbors' fields, their woods, backyards, never a second thought. I just went out and I explored and I experienced. We don't live in that world anymore. And when you come to Hudson Crossing Park, you get a little taste of that again. The people you're meeting on our trails are not strangers to be feared. They're neighbors and friends. You smile and say hello. You don't turn and think, how do I get out of this situation? Although sometimes you might, depending. But the true magic of Hudson Crossing is being able to give people that opportunity that we all took for granted for so many years. The ability to root our feet into that ground, remember that we are part of a community, that we are just one of many, and that we're all here celebrating the same things. We're all here looking for our own experiences and our own ways to find ourselves and find ourselves in this world. And it's volunteers like Mike, who is also happens to be the chair of our board and has been a dedicated volunteer for more than a decade, that make all of that possible. And so I want to commend Mike for once again being up for whatever I ask of him, because I can promise you this is not something that was on his to-do list. But I also want to just acknowledge all of the volunteers and all of the people who care for the land, care for the park, care for the community, and work together to make it all be something that we can all be proud of. So I hope that I see you all soon out at Hudson Crossing. Visit us at hudsoncrossingpark.org. I promise you will not be disappointed. And I would like to hand it off to Mike.
Yeah. The stories alone were a hard act to follow. You know, when you go from Saratoga Springs over to Vermont, you zigzag through a little village, and then you cross the Hudson River, and then you go up a hill and on eastward to your destination. Well, that little village you went through was my old hometown, Schuylerville. Now, I grew up in farm country, kind of like where Kate grew up, but across the river. It turned out that it was a sparsely populated dirt road. And the few people that were kind of like our neighbors, whatever, that was our community. We were about halfway between the Saratoga Monument and Fish Creek, if you've ever been over there. Now, our house had 4 generations, and it was all under one roof. Thank God we had 3.5 baths. But they had witnessed world conflicts. They'd witnessed the Great Depression, and they also were exposed to the early technological advances of the first half of the 20th century. Now, in 1957, my dad took us out to the front yard one night to watch Sputnik fly over. Mom was horrified. They're invading heaven. We were all raised Roman Catholic, and we knew that we were the only ones who were going to be there, so what difference does it make? But Mom was really upset. But all kidding aside, in order for the house to make ends meet, everybody had to pitch in and work together. But as you can imagine, with 4 different generations, the conversations that went through the place must have been really incredible. My brothers were exposed to, and I were exposed to, compromises, assigned roles, and let me just, for tonight, let me just call it animated discussions. Differences in the way to do things, disagreements and whatever, they needed to be focused on resourceful solutions. And once the solutions were going to be implemented, they had to be done so with creative style. Now, I wasn't supposed to eavesdrop, but I did listen in quite a few times. And what I learned was you have to be careful. You have to be sure you listen to people's opinions and even criticism. And keep your mouth shut for a while, because you might say something that you can never take back. But as crazy as this whole family sounds, really, and there were times, it was a great place to grow up. We were allowed to ask questions about almost anything. And that nurtured kind of a curiosity, just a natural curiosity in things. And plus, like Kate was mentioning, we had fields where we could wander around, not only our fields, but our neighbors' farms and whatever. And that was just amazing, compared to today at least. We had a neighbor, and he was actually using one of our fields to raise corn. And he had another field of ours that he used to pasture his cows. And boy, I learned a lot of ways to express things from that neighbor. But in the cornfield, I actually found my first arrowhead. And I asked my dad, I said, hey, how come our pasture has these strange, shallow depressions, whatever, sporadically around the field? And he said that they were the central fire pits for the longhouses of the First Nations peoples that were there centuries ago. And that I needed to respect anybody that could eke out a living in our environment with the tools that they could make by hand. Well, I didn't know it at the time, but years later, when the National Park Service was putting in the Victory Woods Trail, which was just over the hill from us, the archaeologists found a 7,000-year-old community fire pit. And it turns out that the people who lived on our pasture were very likely using that fire pit to dry the fish they caught in the creek so they would have food over the winter. It was just amazing. Later on, eventually, I moved away, and I wanted to build a career in technology. So what was interesting, as I grew in my career, whatever, and my view of the world expanded. It turned out that my old hometown was beginning to fade. The old mills were dying and moving away. The river was incredibly polluted. And that old spirit that we had of we're all in it together began to shrink to there's little we can do. So while I was working, I couldn't help it. My love for my hometown and my interest in history never really faded. So when I was looking down the barrel at retirement, and quite frankly, I was afraid of being bored once I hung up my pocket protector, I joined the Friends of the Saratoga Battlefield, and that introduced me to the interpretive people team, whatever, down at the National Park. I learned more stories about the local heritage than I would ever have found any other way. Plus, they helped me improve my graphic skills. And around about 2009, there was a partnership between this group of people that were trying to create a park up near Schuylerville and the battlefield. And they wanted some help so that their event flyers could have some branding so that people would recognize the organization that was actually putting on the event. So I pitched in. I went up and I met these people, and I thought, oh my God, what a collection. They wanted to take this abandoned 42-acre island that's between the Champlain Canal and the Hudson River, and they wanted to convert that into Hudson Crossing Park. But they had such a wide variety of personalities. It was like a kaleidoscope of people. Their abilities, their skill sets, their drives, their opinions, it was amazing, but they all had the ability to aim for a common goal. And that goal was to create an educational and recreational destination that would turn and breathe new life back into Schuylerville's downtown. Just amazing. They had $1 million ideas. They had a shoestring budget. But they had a David and Goliath attitude that they could do anything as long as they could do it creatively and apply what they had on hand so that they could get toward the goal they were after. They had learned that inertia can be broken if you just do something and then nurture that momentum to keep that thing rolling. Back in the bicentennial, almost 50 years ago, somebody who is actually now one of the oldest board members in Hudson Crossing bought a used weed whacker. His idea was to carve a path through the overgrown old Champlain Canalway towpath from the village up to Lock 5, and he did that. Later on, scout troops, under the leadership of former historian Tom Woods, widened that trail a little bit. Next thing you know, the Champlain Canalway bike trail takes that trail and makes it into one of the premier bike trails from Waterford to Whitehall. Next, and now, it's part of the 750-mile Empire State Trail system. It's incredible. This happened because a guy had an idea, and he bought a used weed whacker. So I joined the board. Now, this was, it doesn't matter when it was, but they were in the process. It was a while ago. They were in the process of putting the final touches on a natural, non-cookie cutter play garden. And when I say play garden, think playground. Because what it really was, it was a place where kids could play, yet everything in it is either alive or it's repurposed. It's an environmental lesson by osmosis. You really got to see it. It works. So the next project that they came up with was let's do something for people who have various challenges. They wanted to create a wooded riverside experience for these people. So they contacted advocacy groups for people with disabilities and got some ideas. The artist that was a volunteer with the group, he went up to the Pember Museum so he could study birds. And as a result, he went back to his studio, and we now have life-size nuthatches, woodpeckers, and we also have this huge, self-standing, giant blue heron that everybody can touch as they're experiencing the trails. Now, I want you to do me a favor. Close your eyes. Imagine that you are visually impaired. and you have a friend that's taking you down a wooden trail. Listen for the water in the Hudson River splashing against the shoreline. Listen to the birds that are singing in the canopy of the woods that are over you. Smell the leaves, smell the ground. Now hear the tap, 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 tap of a woodpecker off in the distance. And now your friend brings you over to the edge of the trail and lets you put your hands on the trunk of a tree. And your friend encourages you to creep up and touch that woodpecker that the artist left there. And the woodpecker is in the same position that one would be if it was trying to get into the bark in order to get some food. When we had the trail cutting for the park, for that particular trail, it was the only facility like it within about a 150-mile radius. Since then, numerous municipal leaders have come both from Canada and from the United States so that they can experience Hudson Crossing Park, they can experience the trails, but more importantly, they can find how the heck did we do this with just volunteers. It was a long way. But you know what? Hudson Crossing Park spirit is contagious. It turns out that there were a couple of local leaders who must have gotten infected because they decided that if they work together and they have a small success, that small success can have seeds to greater successes. And before long, community members started joining in to help them implement new and creative plans. The next thing you know, neighbors were helping neighbors again, and Schuylerville's downtown is alive because they're embracing their natural assets, they're embracing their waterway heritage, the Hudson and the Battenkill Rivers, Fish Creek, and the Champlain Canal, and they're embracing their natural place in history, not just the American Revolution, but for all time. And today, all of these stories live in that area that you zigzag through on your way to some other place. So we all know that nonprofits improve the quality of life of the people that live in the communities where they exist. So let me share with you a couple of things where nonprofits have helped me. Especially at my age, it's a fountain of youth. I can draw from the energy of the young. And when they come up with new ideas, their excitement, and when they get into a project that they love, it's electrifying. And the other way is, as I gain in years, whatever, I can actually experience that I can be a part of something good. I can be a part of a solution that makes a difference. Not so much that I do anything, super trick up front, or even noticeable when I do something on a particular project. But the idea is that later on, when I look at the result, and I just kind of think about the moments when I helped, I smile with pride. So take time. Go over and visit that area, especially go over and visit Hudson Crossing Park. Experience the waterside trails. We've got miles of them. Experience the art that's sprinkled all through the park. The beautiful gardens that the local clubs have helped to make and maintain. The environmental lessons that you can get without even having to read anything. And the stories. There are stories that span millennia there. Then take the time to walk out on the beautiful 1895 Dix Bridge. It overlooks the Hudson River. Let the sounds of nature surround you. And when it's time to go home, on your way back to your vehicle, stop for just a moment. Take another look around. Everything that you see was built for you to enjoy and experience throughout the efforts of volunteers. Thanks.
Yes. All right. Nice. All right. Well, thanks, Mike, for that. I'm just meeting Mike today physically for the first time. We've been in correspondence for the last month or so. And I got to say, the more I hear about Mike's life story, and this will be sort of a Generation X reference, but I feel like Mike could have been the consultant on MacGyver for the stuff he came up with. Another thing I'll say before I start this, you know, songwriting is, you know, something I love to do. It's my passion. And I also know that I tend to say yes to things very quickly. And when I was approached to do this, it's something I've never done before. I've always just written for myself. I thought, this is a very cool idea. Yes, I'll do it. But then I got to thinking, like, oh shit, can I do this? Like, what if Mike's story was how he worked himself up at Walmart all the way through the ranks? You know, I don't know if I can write about that. Not that that's, you know, nothing wrong with working at Walmart, but I'm just saying, I don't know that it's that interesting. When I look for a good story to write about, like songwriting is interesting because really good songwriting is about, I think, distilling a kind of a mood or a feeling in a very short, brief amount of time. So you have these details to work with, and sometimes you can have so many details that it becomes more esoteric, and it's only interesting to maybe one or two people out there. But the idea for me is to create something that's universal and has details in it that can tie you to somewhere, someplace. So when I heard about Mike's story, I was relieved in that it was very aligning with a lot of themes that I believe in, that I hold true, such as the connection to the land. If you listen to Mike's story, I mean, that's woven throughout, you know, not just the Hudson Crossings, but his story of his life and being on the farm at Schuylerville, you know. As somebody like me who grew up in a time where I didn't have any mentors bringing me outdoors and showing me things out there. I was learning it myself, like probably a lot that Mike did. And I don't think you see that too much anymore. And I think that is something to lament, because there's a value, an inherent value in the land. And as somebody who forages too, some of you know that, I am very much connected to the land when I go out, intrinsically wanting to sort of connect on that level. So anyways, this song is called Up to Fish Creek. And it's important to note, and Mike illuminated this fact, that creek was used by the people who lived there, right? And so I like using that detail because it ties you to the place and what it meant to the people who lived there. So it's Fish Creek, not creek. All right. By the Champlain Canal, I can still see the farm. There ain't much of it now. I can paint you a picture, but I can't give you the feel. Oh, you can't think your feet on the land. You gotta do it for real. The day that the Sputnik flew by, only Catholics should fit through that hole in the sky. Oh, so much for the faithful, but I think she's done being sore. Oh, sweet Jesus, remember my ma when she knocks at the door.
dead new machines, but had his heart to the ground. A farmer in his dreams, a state job for a plow. He could read you the history from the marks on the dirt. What a good waste of time looking down, if you know what it's worth. We drove through the fields, Brother Jim, Brother Greg, an unlikely set of wheels, in a death trap toboggan down that old dizzy drop. Only a lack of imagination could get us to stop. The farmer next door earned the sweat on his brow. I learned how to swear from how he called his own cow. We built up our neighbors, they had us on the way down. And that's how a village is made, with the hands of the crowd. That young when the dark was alive, with the full Milky Way and Bummer down by my side, on no room for boredom when the world is so big. Oh Bummer, you are a good dog, let's find something to dig. Up to Fish Creek by the Champlain Canal, I can still see the farm, there ain't much of it now. I can paint you a picture, but I can't give you the feel. Oh, you can't think your feet on the land, you gotta do it for real. Oh, you can't think your feet on the land, you gotta do it for real.
All right, so Sean, Mike, and storytelling coach Kelvin Caraga, and Kate for all that you do at Hudson Crossing. Thank you, that was just spectacular. So, we have one more story to share with you, so just give us a moment.
No, definitely not. Well, for hang on to. Thank you. All right, thank you. I wish I could. I've got them in my pocket just in case. In case I get anything. Yes, you will. No, I want it for safety net. Thank you.
Okay, so for our final story of the night, the organization is Saratoga PLAN, and the storyteller is Don Zurich. Thank you so much. And songwriter is Peggy Lynn, who has performed on this stage many, many times. And our storytelling coach is Janine Laverty. Yes, there you are. Thank you so much for all your work. And Bonnie Nightingale is going to come up from Saratoga PLAN and tell you just a little bit more about the organization. Right, Bonnie.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bonnie. I want to say, just to start off, that it has been an absolutely lovely evening, and sharing these stories with all of you has been a joy, and I'm very much looking forward to our last one tonight. If you do not know Saratoga PLAN already, we are your local land trust. We have been around for about 20 years, and we serve the Saratoga County region in protecting land and nature. And some of you may be familiar with land trusts already, or might be hearing that term for the first time. But the crux of it is that we are protecting land, whether we are owning it in fee title and holding those titles, or we're buying development rights, such as we're about to hear on this agricultural easement. And so across the county currently, we hold about 7,300 acres that have been protected in perpetuity. And let's take a second to think about that. Forever. Those lands will never be developed. And the most spectacular thing about the work that we are doing, in my mind, is that those lands come to us from landowners like Dawn, who are moved from their deep attachment to the land that they grew up on, to protect that out of their own love of the land. And we are kept busy endlessly by folks in the community, landowners, who are coming to us to protect their lands. And it is all we can do just to keep up with that. In addition to those 7,300 acres, we have 32 miles of trails and over 40 agricultural easements. We are providing recreation. We're providing an opportunity for folks to connect to nature. We are providing health, mental health, and physical health for the community. And we are providing a more resilient ecosystems for climate change. We're protecting biodiversity, we're protecting habitat, and hopefully protecting this landscape for not only our enjoyment and our generation, but for generations to come into the future. And it is an absolute privilege to be able to work for PLAN, mostly because of the landowners like Dawn that I get to connect with, to be able to spend time in the community with volunteers and with landowners who are so deeply passionate about protecting these lands, not just for themselves, but for everyone here. So I thank them, and I thank all of you for supporting us. and have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Hi, my name is Dawn Zurek, and I'm here representing Saratoga PLAN, which, as Bonnie said, is preserving land and nature. And in this case, it's farmland. And I'm going to talk about points in my life where I realized that there's a connection between the far distant past and the far distant future, and that we're only here for a short period of time, and that owning the land is a great responsibility. And it all started with a story from my mom that when I was a baby, when I was just absolutely inconsolable, she'd bring me over by the window in my little bassinet, and it was near the maple tree. And so the only way she could calm me down, I'd be trying to grab at those maple leaves, even though I was inside, and with my hands and my feet going away, and she said it always worked. And step forward a little bit, and my dad would go out and prepare the garden. He'd go out and plow the garden area for us and smooth it all out with the tiller, and then Mom would take me out, and I was young, very young, and with my package of radish seeds, and go out there, and of course I was close to the ground and short then, and so I could really bend down and really look at the soil. And she told me, well, you draw a little line with your finger in this, but not too deep, because the radish seeds are so small, you're going to be placing them very carefully in the soil. So, being young and curious, really looking at the soil, and Mom was saying, well, don't put any like big rocks over, or little pebbles over those tiny seeds, or they're not going to grow. So, really concentrating on the soil. So then, stepping forward a little bit, got old enough that I had some responsibilities on the farm. And of course, you live on a farm, you've got your pet rabbit, you've got your beloved dog, you've got your pony. And I didn't really know, I was very young, I didn't know my pony was very old. But one day, went out to the barn, and there's my pony lying there. And I was like, wow, it's not moving. Never saw the pony not moving. So, still not moving. Run down to the house, Mom, something's really wrong. So, at round about the same time, I had an uncle die. And around about the same time, I was about 10 years old. All these things happened. I was also in, religious instruction class, so they're talking about heaven and, going on to heaven. So I was getting this heavy dose of all of this, and then my dog, my beloved dog, decides that my pet bunny should be lunch. So that was it. I said, all right, got to think about this. Nothing's permanent. And this was a heavy dose early on. But I came to the realization that I too, not permanent. So, but on the bright side, it was right about the time when I was old enough that my father took me out and taught me how to drive the riding lawnmower. And boy, did I think I was cool. But my dad would say, all right, got to be careful, drive straight, because if you don't, pay attention to what you're doing, don't get killed. But if you don't drive straight and pay attention exactly to that land, you're going to leave strips of unmown grass, you're going to turn too sharp, everybody's going to see that you didn't really do it right. So I thought, can't let that happen. So concentrating, great. Graduated eventually to the Super C tractor. And I got to go out there in the field and rake hay. So, not the coolest thing to be doing when you're a teenager, but I thought, well, all my friends go on vacation. They all come back to school with a tan. So I'm going to get that bathing suit on, put the shirt on, drive the tractor out there, and so there I would go. I'd get way out in the backfield, take that shirt off, ride around with that bathing suit on, getting myself a rotisserie tan. So when I went to school in September, everybody's like, wow, where'd you go on vacation? We're in the dairy business. You don't go on vacation. But, all was great with that. So, but that same Super C tractor, that same rake, taught me another lesson. There I am out there, cut the corner too short. Remember what Dad said before with the lawnmower? Well, here I am on the tractor, cut the corner too short, got that tire bumped right up against that rake behind me. Couldn't go forward, couldn't go backward, couldn't figure out how to undo it. At the same time, I thought, well, I've got to walk all the way back. So I'm walking along and I'm thinking, well, I know that I really might not be cut out for this farming business because it's terrible. I can't stomach seeing the cows have the calves. I'm really not into that medical stuff with the cows. And I'm not really patient with repairing things with my dad. And now I've got myself in this jam. Well, fortunately, I was doing fine in school. Of course, my parents realized that, I was probably more off in the going off to college direction than in the being a good dairy farmer direction. It's not quite cut out for it. So off to college I went. And this turned into a realization that I could never really go too far away from the farm, that I always had to come back. And I was planting blueberries or always gardening and always coming back to the farm, even to the point where I should have been going to Chicago or New York or San Francisco for a career. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm giving that up. I'm going to stay local. And, realizing that it was in my heart. And so because of these choices and staying in my community, they asked me if I would be on the planning board of my town. So there another eye-opening experience happens. There I am, sitting there seeing plans of farms that I used to visit with my father and mother and our neighbors, that they were subdividing these farms. I mean, there was a person in the audience here, Joni and Chet's farm, and they had these beautiful horses and this beautiful pond, and lo and behold, part of it got subdivided. And I'm like, wow, I don't think I can let this happen to our farm. I can't be a farmer. I know I'm limited, but I can't let that happen. And of course, my dad had passed on, and part of planning board obligation is that you go to mandatory training every year. And there's Maria giving a training session on Saratoga PLAN and land conservation and how conservation easements actually work. I thought, oh, light bulb, there's hope, there's hope. So talked to Mom, and my father had won some conservation awards during his lifetime, and so Mom and I thought, well, this is the appropriate thing to do. So when you do a conservation easement, you give up some opportunity for money. But I've already been doing that all along because I could never leave the farm. So Mom and I went ahead and decided to go through the process of conserving the farm, because the realization of being a finite amount of time on Earth, but knowing that there were generations of farmers before that we never knew. There were people that my grandparents bought part of the farm from, people that my father expanded the farm from that I never knew, and then I'm sure there will be people after that'll have that same opportunity to be teaching their children to draw a little line in the dirt and put those little seeds in and plant those seeds and be able to go out to their garden and pull out those radishes and watch that dirt fall off, and then go out there and wipe those sweet tomatoes off right there in the garden and eat them. And understanding the land, that the land transcends our lifetime, but it's the greatest gift that could be given to people in the future, to know that they will have that opportunity as well to get in trouble with the tractor, drive that lawnmower, and live that life. And it really was a wonderful life. So, and thank you, Saratoga PLAN.
I'm so grateful to have been asked. Thank you to Sarah, Craig, and all the folks who are here at Caffe Lena for putting this together and asking me to be part of it. I went to see Dawn at the farm for the first time. Was it August? It was 95 degrees. And I got to meet her dog, Jetty, and Big Dog, and we walked up the hill and looked out from the top of the hill, and you can see all the way to the Green Mountains, and it was really beautiful. And Dawn said that people call it the $1 million view. And she said so many things to me, but what really stuck with me is that the story is not about us, it's about the land, and how we need to keep the land in the farmer's hands. And so I tried to weave that in. I can't see my words. If you're right behind these lyrics, I'm very sorry. But if I don't see them, you won't hear them. Native people followed limestone ridge up from the river. They found a fertile hillside where 3 sisters would thrive. Oak trees and hickory nuts lured white-tailed deer and turkeys. Mohawk people prospered in this valley we call home. And they keep the land in the women's hands, for it was they who sowed the seeds. Mothers led the clans, and they made their plans to raise the food their people. Later Europeans came and gave the places all new names. They raised barns and many cows. Corn was grown in straight rows now. Zurich family came from Poland, searching for a new land. They bought this farm that views Green Mountain, sunrise every morn. And John worked the land with his own 2 hands. And John worked the land with his own 2 hands. No days off for calving season, and he plowed new fields to increase the yield. Hard times never brought his thought of leaving. John and Dorothy had a daughter, and they named her Dawn. She remained a only child, no sons to carry on. Dawn had her college years, and she built a strong career. Her nest egg would benefit one day when she returned. And they keep the land in the farmer's hands. Sunflowers nodding in the sun, and the barns still stand past and future generations.
Was just a wonderful story. You know, everybody, this is your community. This is your community. These are the people who are living all around you, caring for each other. There are people in this room, I guarantee you, who have all different ideas about how this country should be run and who should be sitting up there at City Hall and all of that. It doesn't matter if we all just care about each other. So thank you so much for being part of this night. And we'll be doing it again next year. Come back and visit Caffe Lena. Check out all of the websites are on the program. And if you didn't get a program and you want one on the way out, grab it. You can find out more about all of these organizations. They would love to hear from you as a volunteer or as a donor as they come to the end of their year. So everybody, thank you so much. Do good work.